Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game?
Welcome back to another week of Proper Punters, and we are on the eve of the Cox Plate. How are you, Tommy?
Good, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm actually a little bit dusty. Went to the launch of Pelicano last night and just been going through a bit. But busy time of year.
Winners always feel nice, mate.
Yeah, winners do feel nice. What did you make of the Everest?
I thought it was one of the weaker Everests.
Yeah.
Just with the margins through the field, and some of the horses who I had penned through, like Lady of Camelot, that performed well above the expectations. And then when I look at the clock versus the Sydney Stakes, there wasn't much between Bella's time and what Overpass did a race earlier. So, yeah, I don't know what I'll be doing with that form, but I think they'll all be heading to the paddock now. Most of them. What do you think, Mace?
I thought it was a gutsy win by her, but yeah, I definitely think we haven't got top class sprinters at the moment.
No.
I don't think that batch that we've currently got there are very good, and obviously the scratching of Traffic Warden probably wasn't ideal because I reckon he definitely could afford at the finish.
100% agree with you.
But we move on to the Cox Plate, and there's been a bit of a mishap in the, what do they call it?
The Tuesday track work, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's the Breakfast of the Stars or something. Via Sistina dumped J-Mac. J-Mac's fine. Didn't look to hurt herself. I went for 3 laps.
Yeah, she bounced out of that tumble fine.
Yeah, she was fine. What do you make of that sort of thing?
I don't know. It's a weird one because it doesn't happen very often, so you don't have much data to go off and say that they'll be fine or they'll be flat from it. Yeah, it's not ideal. I think if she scratches, then we know how serious it is. I think trust the vets and trust Waller to get it right. I think if she runs on Saturday, then you can be betting with confidence if you do like her. I think they would absolutely scratch her. I think the welfare of the horse is more important than the race. So
definitely,
yeah,
I know it's a tricky one when you've got a second favourite in the Cox Plate, but yeah, she's top class horse for sure.
Agree completely.
How's the speed map look?
Yeah, fascinating race. I think Pride of Jenny looks our leader. Gay's accepted with Royal Patronage. That'll want to be up on speed too, but I don't think it'll want to pressure Pride of Jenny. I think Pride of Jenny's best asset is her sustained speed. She has to go quick. I think that's her only chance of winning. I think if she goes too slow or at a moderate tempo, then the horses with the turn of foot will just dust her, I think. So
do you think we're going to see a takeoff again like we did?
I think she has to, especially around the tight turning track. If she can get them off the bit 600 out and they're sort of having to make their runs exposed like she did with Mr. Brightside at that 1600 metre, that's her best asset. That's how they'll win the race if Pride of Jenny is to win the race.
Yeah.
A sit-and sprint or an average tempo, she just won't be able to sprint with the likes of Prognosis and Via Sistina, even broadsiding. So I think it'll be an above average tempo. I think horses like Mr. Brightside will be positive and use their gait. Prognosis has a habit of missing the start. Naturally, Damien Lane will just let the race unfold, and I think he'll be sitting off midfield, hoping the track's playing fair. Broadsiding, gate 8, I think they'll also be ridden cold. 49.5 kilos and a 3-year-old.
It's a bit of a tricky one though, because how far back do you think he's going to be? Plus, you want to use the fact that he is carrying no weight and he's up in trip.
Yep, definitely. They could be more positive without being surprised. Gate 8 too. Do you risk the chance of sitting wide, or do you risk and hope that Pride of Jenny strings them out like you always say, Mace?
I do think if they do string out, there could be an opportunity to get in there. I think if broadsiding snags and goes back to last, I can't see I don't think that's how you're going to see broadsiding win this race. I think a lot of the time when you've got 3-year-olds in Cox Plate, you've got to kind of use the advantage that you don't have weight and you need to probably sit that little bit more handier.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure.
But yeah, the gate's definitely got to be an issue for him.
I can see James sitting a touch closer on Via Sistina. I don't think he has to be last as well. Gate 4, Wallow, he knows he likes to use his low barriers, especially in grand final. I think James drew Gate 4 with Animo, put him in the 1-1. So I think there's definitely an opportunity. And I think he'll be having flashbacks of the Queen Elizabeth, giving Pride of Jenny that head start. I think he'll want to be sitting closer with Via Sistina. Fascinating race. I wouldn't say it's a vintage Cox Plate, would you, Mace?
Look, I don't know enough about the Jap horse. I do know that he ran second. The horse came out and won last year, or was last year?
Yeah, last year.
Last year's
Warrior.
winner. Romantic Warrior. That was said last year's Cox Plate was a really weird run. Cox Plate, like they went quite slow. Miss Brightside was a lot firmer in the market. I've always been a believer that he struggles to run 2,000 metres, and I think this will be a very genuine run 2,000 this time. So I'm definitely against him. Always respect the Jab, especially when they come to this race. They're just superior stayers. I did like the run of Kovalika. I thought could be one for your exotics. I thought he definitely showed a return to form. Royal Patronage was good. Probably don't want to be on it here. Yeah, really interesting to see just how fast Pride of Jenny goes and how far she gets out in front.
Yeah.
Look, it's not, at this point, it's not really a race I want to be betting into. Fierce to see a broadsiding. I was, if broadsiding had drawn a gate, I'd be probably pretty interested, but I don't know. Too many unknowns for me. It's just it's a big watch race.
Yeah. I'll be with the Jap, just pending the betting. It's a great betting race. The Cindos and the big punters usually like to step in. The last time the Jap came, I think Lise Grecheux held $1 million on herself and was 280 into 220 in the last sort of 10 minutes of betting. So there's going to be huge goes in this market.
There seems to be, and the world. It's this amazing, this world tote. That you seem to get if whatever the money horse is, you get drastic unders.
Yeah.
If you're backing the money horse, I would not be piling into the world tote. I'd be taking the fixed odds elsewhere.
Absolutely. I remember another year, the year Glenn Boss rode the Kieran Maher import, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That was 15s into 9s, I think, in the final 10 minutes. So there's big goes in the Cox Plate. Follow the money, I think, or be just take note of the money and look for the big blowers or the big firmers. But yeah, I'll be with the Jap Prognosis.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you without having a bet.
Beautiful.
All right, we'll have a look at some of the group races at Randwick. We'll go to the Crowley Stakes, race 4.
Yeah, race 4. Good track on Saturday at Randwick. Rails out 5.
How are you expecting the track to play?
Yeah, I think you want to be on forward of midfield. I thought the track played kind of on pace-ish a little bit last week, kind of up and off, sort of like lanes 5, 6, 7, but you needed to be... You
certainly didn't want to get too far back, did you?
No, not at all. I thought it was difficult to make ground. I think it'll be a similar week where first half of the field will be advantaged. We'll kick off with the Brian Crowley dry track. I've got an average tempo. I've got Manos from gate 1 going forward. Amazing Eagle has shown plenty of speed, likes to be up on pace in its trials. It will be showing good toe to be up there. Smashing Time, gate 3. It's a small field. He shouldn't get too far back. The favourite should just be midfield. And then High Octane, the other favourite, I think will be last. Try to use its turn of foot. I found this race pretty tricky. Smashing Time comes out of a Kembla Grange maiden, which I thought was form you could oppose.
It wasn't a maiden. It was a...
Sorry, not a maiden, a benchmark race at Kembla. Saturday
1.
Provincial. Yeah, Class 1. Big gap to third, so there's some tick to that, but subsequent form I'm not sure yet. The second horse, Sunrise, hasn't raced yet. Tommy on, gate 4, nice map. Definitely has its credentials, but I was going to look around that. I thought, don't forget, Jack is a lightly raced horse with upside. I thought its wins in Queensland were positive. That win at Eagle Farm is really impressive. Matt Dunn, respect when he brings him to town. Nash Willer on. I think this is a meeting where J-Mac's away. Nash and Tommy will be standing up, I think, and they'll be riding very well, looking to get ahead on the jockeys' premiership for the year. The 850 and 360 interests me on an each way quote. What about you there, Mace? Yeah,
I've got a lot of respect for Don't Forget Jack. I know, as you said, it wasn't the greatest of races, and yes, he was $1.30, but the Smashing Time, I do think he's a horse with some substance. I really do think this is a horse with some substance. I probably would have liked to see him go up to 1,400 personally, but I did like the win. I've got to respect him. I've got him equally on top. I'm actually interested in a horse called Amazing Eagle. I love both trials. Some of the form last prep was pretty good. His run in the Black Opal was certainly passable. Gerald's really good at getting these horses ready first up. He is a maiden, but I think this is a horse that can finally get a win on the board. I'm probably going to have a little bit of a 2-horse play, and they're the two that I'm going to play.
Love it.
We move on to race 7, Spring Champion Stakes.
Yeah, fascinating one. I've only got a fair tempo here. Noises and Firm Agreement will roll forward. El Costello, gate 8. He's been getting perfect runs throughout, and I think he maps to get another great run. I think he can just slide across. Plenty in this race that'll want to be taking rearward positions, and he should just find another 1-1, 1 out, 1 back, 1 out, 2 back sort of position. I think the favourite Swiftfalcon, very impressive last start, extremely strong turn of foot. I think will be ridden the same from gate 11. I think they'll be ridden off midfield, try and produce that strong turn of foot down the middle of the Randwick straight. And then Henley in gate 1, there is an option to be ridden further. I think if they jump well, use that gate. I think this is the horse's grand final. So typically you see more intent, and I think these jockeys will want to sit closer and use their good gates. But I think it's interesting. The market opened, the traders put up $3.20 Swiftfalcon and put up $4 El Costello. That's since swapped. Now El Costello is our $3.40 favourite and Swiftfalcon $3.60. I was interested with that early money. I'm in Swiftfalcon's camp.
Me too.
Yeah, love the way it hit the line against El Costello when it was unsuited. They went extremely slow in that race. El Costello had a nice gap on Swiftfalcon coming into the home straight and just held it to the line. Up in distance, I think Swiftfalcon has its measure in a much stronger turn of foot. I wouldn't be concerned about the early drift. I think that early money might be wrong, and I think on Saturday you might see it swap back to Swiftfalcon favourite. Yeah, I'm in Swiftfalcon's camp.
Yeah, it certainly looks a 2-horse race of mine. I thought they're definitely head and shoulders above the rest. Was very keen on Swiftfalcon first up. Thought there was definite... we thought he's a little bit of a risk second up, just due to the way the map, lack of pace in the race, and that's exactly how it panned out.
Yeah.
Love the way he accelerated to the line.
Yeah.
I'd love for them to get to a price where I could back one and save the other, but I'm definitely going with Swiftfalcon. But do concede El Costello, if he is able to get out there and pinch a break, I do think he's tough.
Yeah, he is tough.
I definitely think he's tough. I can't see anything out of these two beating either of them.
Nope.
I'd maybe save on the Quinella if you want, but yeah, I'm going with Swiftfalcon. I think he's probably one of the better bets on the day. I think he's a pretty top quality animal.
Beautiful, mate. Love it.
When then we move on to race 8, the Invitation.
Yeah, newly raced. It's only been around for 2 or 3 years, I think. But fascinating, solid tempo here. The mares will want to go quick. I think they'll go at an above average tempo. I've got Royal Merchant and Q's likely to roll forward. Terramata from 12 will also be positive. Might set up a 3 wide line or might be able to slot in. Belclair has plenty of speed from its trials and from its races. And Macarena from gate 1 will be positive too. I think the horses that are going to sit out the back and show their best turn of foot will be Arctic Glamour, Roots, potentially Magic Time. Gate 11's a tricky one because this horse has shown tactical versatility in the past, but Gate 11 is a tricky one. I remember it won the Sir Rupert Clark. It might have won down at Caulfield. It sat three wide on that occasion, so the horse can sustain a wide run and still run very good figures. And then Alencia, Gate 7, will be ridden midfield or just off midfield. Tricky market. I think the best 3 horses the market has found clearly. I couldn't necessarily split them. I think they're all coming off profiles that warrant respect. Magic Time, great horse, goes well in Sydney. Nashua Willer, Graham Begg, always respect Graham Begg when he brings them up to Sydney.
Definitely agree with that.
They fly up here. Alencia, dynamic win first up, really soft late, has plenty of upside off that win. And then Zugotcha, I think it's the most exposed horse in the field. Group 1 winner, just missed Via Sustina in the Wink Stakes first up. That was this track and distance. That horse is now second favourite for a Cox Plate, so all the credentials are there. I couldn't really split them. I think if I had to have a bet, which I won't be, I'm leaning to Zugotcha's way. I think Gate 5 is perfect for this horse. Tempo on. I don't think it's a miler, so when you want to offer excuses for its last start failure, I think it's a much better 1,400 metre horse.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
The trial between runs was quiet but fair for Chris Waller and Jean Moreira coming up to Sydney to ride. I want to be with that over Magic Time from Alencia. Mace, what about you?
Once again, I think they're clearly the top two runners in the race.
Mm-hmm.
Zugotcha's got all the credentials. She's used to racing against a real top grade. Disappointing the other day, obviously, but certainly comes back in grade here. Magic Time probably is the only other horse that you could say is the real top grade.
Yeah.
Orlentia's definitely a horse on the rise. You and our man Jaycin, who's actually not here, is a bit crook.
Mm-hmm.
Found one thing I will say though in that Olentia race, fuck you guys, you're lucky to collect because
definitely.
Danny St. Darcy clearly should have won the race.
Yep.
And I remember in that race, I was a little bit intrigued and was willing to have something on Coco Jumbo, and I think she was about I think it was like $6 early or something, $6 or $7. Started $12.
Yeah.
And her run was really good, beating 1.5 lengths. She was hitting the line almost as good as Olentia, in my opinion. Like, she just got held up in the straight, starting to do. She clearly wasn't ready for a start. So if she's tightened up and made any improvement, like she's around the $18 mark.
Yeah.
Like, and you'll probably get 20s on the day.
And that probably pulls on Olentia's price a bit, do you think? Like
massively.
$4,
I think Olentia's ridiculous odds. Like, I can't understand how she's almost equal favourite against these horses.
Yeah.
I do concede, she's probably young and showing that she's on an upward trajectory. But the fact is, like, in my opinion, she probably shouldn't have won first up.
Yeah. No, that's
so,
fair.
to me, I think she's a massive lay at the price. Do I think she can win? Yes. But at the price, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think a lot of the time these fillies mares races, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
And I think Zugotcha will be very hard to beat. Zugotcha, Magic Time, they're the two. And my horse for the value, and I definitely think is worth a spec, is Coco Jambu.
All right, punters. My best bets this week, I've got one in Melbourne and one in Sydney. We'll go to the Cox Plate, Mooney Valley Race 9, number 2, Prognosis. I think the Japs have a terrific record in Australia, and I think this one will continue on their way. The $3.30 I think is great value, and it should be hitting the line, swooping right over the top of Pride of Jenny. Then we'll head up to Randwick, race 10, end of the day, number 5, Kintyre. I thought this horse ran extremely well in an Epsom when it was outclassed, way back in class today, and I think he can get the chocolates against horses who are mixing their form at the moment. So just sharp and sweet this week with 2. What about you, Mace?
Mate, I'm going with 2 as well. I'm going with Randwick race 4, number 8, Amazing Eagle. Love both trials. It is a maiden against horses that have won races, but I just think this horse could have come back. Better style. He showed that he had good ability, and Gerald's really good at getting these horses ready first up. We then move forward to the Spring Champion Stakes, Randwick race 7, number 2, Swiftfalcon. He got a little bit too far back in a race. It just was not suited. It was leader dominated. I think there's only one danger in El Costello. I think this race will be run a lot more genuine. I think the step up to the 2000 will suit him, and I think he's probably the best bet on the whole card. I'm keeping it short and sweet as well, and I'm just getting ready for Flemington Carnival Week. We'll see you guys next week.
Love it, Mace.
See you, mate.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.